Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on 3 scary productivity killers and how to outrun the zombies of productivity. My name is Laura Froyam. I'm an account executive here at CDI, and I'm excited to go through this with you today. A few housekeeping items to kick off with. Everybody will be muted throughout the duration of this presentation. However, if you do have questions, and we do encourage questions, feel free to type them in the questions box at any time, and they will be addressed at the end. And then slides and screenshots are available upon request, and the webinar will be recorded and available through our YouTube site in the next couple of days in case you want to rewatch it or share it with some friends. So today's agenda, we are going to be focusing on Laserfiche Snapshot, Import Agent, some automation for sending out bulk emails, and then we'll be going through demos and kind of walking through each of those solutions and how they work and licensing and everything that goes along with them. So we'll have multiple demos on and off throughout today's presentation. And then the intended audience for this webinar is really everybody, end users who want to learn more about what they can do with Laserfiche, as well as admins who are interested in the same. And then the platforms applicable to everything that I'm showing today are both cloud and self-hosted platforms. So everything that I show today you can do within either platform, and I'm going to be doing kind of a combination of both throughout. And so since I'm not familiar with some of you who have registered and who are on with us, I want to start today's session by launching a poll. So I'm wondering what your Laserfiche deployment is, whether we're doing whether a majority of people are self-hosted or maybe cloud-based, just to give me an idea of who's where. All right, so close that and we'll share it. We have about 25% cloud and 75% self-hosted. So I would say a majority of the Laserfiche community is still on a self-hosted license. If you're interested in migrating to cloud or learning more about it, we definitely have some webinars on our YouTube site, or you can reach out to the sales team and we'll help you. So let's X back out of there and dive in. So today we're going to start out with Snapshot. What I find when I'm talking with clients, existing accounts, long-term accounts, is a lot of times they complain about printing stuff and then having to scan it back into Laserfiche. And they're always excited to learn about Snapshot. So what Snapshot does is it's a virtual printer. So instead of printing a physical piece of paper and scanning it in, you can print a document directly to Snapshot. It's a lot like a save as, and then you can choose the location where you want to store it. Snapshot allows you that same capabilities. It's really great for being able to take a Word document, maybe a contract that you've been collaborating on internally, and you're ready to save that to Laserfiche as an uneditable archivable document. So you can use the Snapshot engine to print it directly to Laserfiche, which saves you lots of time from the manual printing and scanning it back in. Snapshot is available to everybody. It is part of the Laserfiche desktop client download. And if you want to download it, I do have that URL here. And if, again, you're interested in getting a link to download Snapshot, reach out, let us know, and then we can send it to you and assist with anything that you might need. But the use case for Snapshot is you've got a document and you need to save it to Laserfiche. You're probably all familiar with the capability of being able to drag and drop something that is stored or already saved on your desktop into your Laserfiche environment. But you can also, if it's not saved already, you can save it directly to Laserfiche. So let's take a look. So here I have a regular just PDF document, nothing super exciting. And this snapshot will work across any document type. It really doesn't matter as long as you have the ability and permissions to print it. You would just go up here to the print menu. And then instead of sending it to your default printer of choice, you're going to go ahead and select your snapshot printer. And then click print. And once you have your snapshot environment or your snapshot module configured, it is going to pop up with the import profiles that you're probably pretty used to seeing when importing docs into Laserfiche. So on the screen here, we've got our import profile. So it's giving it the default name of 2024 CDI resources. I have the ability to select which folder I want to store the document into. You can set up defaults. I'll go ahead and show you that. And so I also have a default template on here. We have ours going to just city clerk, and I'm going to do proclamations. We'll change today's date to being Halloween. Spooky. And then we'll say okay. So now what's going to happen is the snapshot engine is taking a copy of this image and printing it directly to Laserfiche and filing it away from there. So very simple. I don't have to drag and drop it. I don't have to physically print it and scan it. I just store it right to Laserfiche. So let's take a look at the snapshot configuration options. So once you have the utility downloaded, you have the ability to customize your snapshot configuration. And this configuration is specific to each workstation that the module is installed on. And you can, of course, share the configuration out with other users. But when you're configuring it, you've got this general tab, and you can have it assign the configured properties without prompting. This is really useful if you really only use Snapshot for one reason. An example of this would be internally here at CDI, we use a financial system called QuickBooks, and we print a digital copy of all of our invoices to Laserfiche, and then Laserfiche separates the batch of documents and auto-files it into all of our client folders so that the rest of the team has access to see invoices that have been sent to our customers without needing to maintain a license to QuickBooks in addition to Laserfiche. And so our accounting team always just snapshots a batch of invoices to Laserfiche. It's always the same. It goes through the same processing. Nothing ever changes. So that would be a good use case for assigning the configured properties without prompting. But otherwise, you can set it up so that you have the ability to customize your defaults from here. So you can choose a document name. You can also use token information by clicking this little caret. You can do the print job name. You can do fields that are assigned to have it renamed, things like that. And then which repository you want to save it to. In this scenario, I have mine set up to go to our cloud repository, so you can change your connection information based on where you have your Laserfiche infrastructure installed. So it can be to your self-hosted repository or it can be to cloud, either way. And then you have the ability to adjust your printing preferences. So if we go ahead and select that, this pops up with a new dialog that allows you to set your size, your resolution, your file formats, whether you want it to be black and white or full color. You can apply optional watermarking. So again, depending on what your process is, maybe you are printing a batch of client statements that you've just generated and you need to apply a watermark signifying that they were done on such and such date. You can apply watermarks. You can embed annotations as well. Bates numbering, if you're not familiar with that, is it applies numbers on the page. So here's a preview of some Bates numbering, case number 218. So kind of depending on, again, what your use case is for Snapshot, maybe that makes sense, maybe it doesn't. So once you have your properties all set, you would click OK, apply, and then your defaults will be set. So every time you go to your Snapshot printer, it's going to default to whatever you have set up, and it'll allow you to quickly save your content directly to Laserfiche. So that Snapshot, again, that is available to everybody, whether you are self-hosted or cloud. It does require an install, and you can start directly snapshotting your content into Laserfiche. All right, our next productivity tool is Import Agent. And so what Import Agent does is it allows you to set up folders for automatically pulling content that gets added into those folders directly into Laserfiche. It can also be set up to monitor email addresses from within your organization and automatically archive all incoming and outgoing emails from that address directly to Laserfiche. So we see a lot of organizations using Laserfiche for a few different use cases. A couple of examples would be, maybe you have some staff members that don't have access to Laserfiche, but they are still working with documents that ultimately need to be archived in Laserfiche for your records retention or for other users to be able to see them. So Import Agent can be set up to monitor network folders that those users have access to. And so when they add content into those folders, it will automatically get imported into Laserfiche. Another common use case would be a multifunction printer copier. So a lot of people have those big Ricoh scanning machines that scan to a network folder. And a lot of times you have to run back to your desk, go to that folder, and then drag and drop that document into Laserfiche. Whereas Import Agent can be set up to monitor that folder that you scan to and then automatically bring that content into Laserfiche. Another use case I have been working with a county on recently is they get tax statements generated from their tax provider software. And so those income tax statements are generated in bulk in a multi-page document, and we set up an Import Agent profile to receive those. So every time or once a year when they generate those statements or have them generated, they get stored in a network location. Import Agent monitors that folder, brings them in, and then we've got a capture profile that breaks apart those pages and then automatically saves and archives them to Laserfiche. And then another popular use case is Import Agent also has an email archiving function. And so what that means is at the server level or at the exchange level, depending on what type of email you have, but kind of at that main top level, Laserfiche Import Agent can be set up to monitor all incoming and outgoing emails from a specific email address. So some organizations maybe have a accounts receivable email address that all of their vendors send invoices to. And so they send invoices to that box as attachments to an email. And so Import Agent can receive that email, pull it in, and then you can build a workflow process that extracts that attachment out and then maybe routes it via Laserfiche forms for routing and approval from there, or just archives it in the system. So lots of different use cases for importing files into the system. So let's take a look at a couple of them. So I'm going to X out of here. First things first is we're going to start with this tax statement. So I kind of gave that use case example. I'm going to open up this PDF here. We'll see that it's a 6-page PDF, and these are all property tax statements that get generated in bulk that need to get filed away within Laserfiche. And so we've got this big document. Usually these are, hundreds, if not thousands of pages long. Ours is only 6. I have the patience to only generate 6 samples. So we're going to go ahead and just X out of that. And then what I want to show you is when we go into our folder structure here, we're going to go into finance and we're going to take a look at our property tax information and we're going to go into 2024. So right now there are no documents in here, but what we're going to do is take these tax statements and we're going to put them on a network folder that's being monitored. So I'm just going to drag and drop it from here. Again, this process could happen any number of ways. Maybe it's an automatic export from another application or, some other user adding content into that folder. But essentially, this is just a network folder. I'm going to go ahead and go into it. I can see that my tax statement document is still sitting here. But if we refresh, it will eventually go away. And so while we wait for that to process, I want to actually show you the import agent utility. So it looks like I got my message. The file has been received. And so now it's going to go through a workflow process and capture profile process, which I'll show you. Import agent is bundled into a lot of software packages. So if you have a subscription-based software package, whether it's a site license or professional or business tiered cloud or self-hosted system, import agent is bundled in. Otherwise, if you have a different self-hosted platform such as Rio or Avante or even United, import agent can be an add-on to those platforms. And then once you have it installed on the location that you're going to be setting up monitoring, it's a very simple utility for you to set up. So if you want to create a new profile, you'll just click that little icon with the star to start a new profile, or you can copy settings from an existing profile. This is super handy if you are setting up multiple import agents for like that network copier printer. So every time accounting goes up to the printer, they select the accounting folder. Every time HR goes up there, they select the HR folder. And then based on the locations that we are importing the documents from in the network location, different workflows or Laserfiche processes can kick off. So kind of keep that in mind. We're going to go ahead and just open one of these. So we'll say edit. And then we can kind of take a look at the profile. So you can name it. You can set up the monitored folder that you want to set up. You can have it import all files or files that only match certain criteria. You can definitely set that up. And then you can go through and set up the properties, which are what account are we logging into, who's the username and password, that kind of stuff. What is the document name going to be? What's the default folder going to be? That's where you configure all of that. Field information is any metadata that you are applying to the document. What do you want there? And is any of it automatically populated? So the document date here is automatically captured when it's getting brought in. Any tags, so if you happen to have any tags in your system and you want those applied, you can have tags automatically applied to documents upon import when bringing it into the system. You can have it set up as a schedule so that it only imports files, at 12 o'clock. Or you can have it set up so that it's always importing files. Every time something new gets added into that folder, it's always going to bring it in. What to do when it goes through processing. So whether you want to have OCR, text extraction created, whether you want to keep Laserfiche pages, whether we want to do it black and white or color, all those different options. And then post-processing. So once it's been migrated out of or pulled out of the network folder, what do you want to have happen with it? That document was on the network folder. Do you want it to get deleted from there? Do you want to move it to a different folder so that you know that it has been processed by import agent? Kind of what do you want to do? That's what you set up here. And then the document handling. So whether it's going to create a new document or update existing documents, things like that. So lots of different options for configuring your import agent profile. So I'm going to hit cancel. And we are going to jump into our cloud repository. So now if I click refresh here, I've got that little icon saying something's happened. I can click refresh and we can see that our documents have been brought into Laserfiche. And automatically extracted from them is the parcel ID as well as the recipient name, and then we have our default document type of tax form assigned. So if I just go ahead and open up one of these, we can take a look. It went again from that 6-page document down to 2 pages based on the workflow automation and capture profile that we have had set up. So there's our document. We can see again just 2 pages. It's automatically populated some of the metadata fields based on the criteria that we selected. We could definitely fill this in a little bit more. That is for the next time I need something configured. So let's take a look at how that is set up. So again, import agent brings it into a default file. And so I'll show you, it comes into this import agent processing folder. And so that is going to kind of be our starting rule. If you're familiar with building workflows, they have to kick off somehow based on some event or some time or something. And so our workflow is set up so when a document comes into this import agent processing folder and meets the criteria, it's going to kick off automation. So I'm in my cloud repository, which is why I have this navigation toolbar up here. I want to also call out that if you are a self-hosted user of Laserfiche, coming soon with version 12, you're going to have the ability to have this, I like to call it a waffle or the navigation bar up here at the top to get to your other applications. So right now with self-hosted, workflows installed as a separate application, forms is installed in a separate application and you have to click on those. But in cloud, you have the ability to access everything from the waffle. And so that's going to be new to version 12, coming soon, pretty exciting. And so we're going to go into our workflows area and we're going to do search by last published date and take a look at our demo for import agent. So I'm just going to minimize this for a second. So the workflow right now looks very simple. Retrieve field values, follow one of these conditional decisions, and then move the entry. But I'm going to expand it so we can get some more detail. So based on the folder that we are plopping the document into, it's going to follow one of these conditional decisions. Whether it's getting plopped into our tax folder, our meeting minutes folder, or our resolutions folder, it's going to follow the set of rules that correlate with that. So it's going to get the field value. So upon importing, if we had configured any particular field values, it would retrieve the field values there. And then based on the folder, it's going to follow again this branch of the workflow. And then we do have a capture profile set up to run on this tax one. And so one of the really neat things about Laserfiche Cloud is that it does have capture profiles that you can build into workflows. So it is essentially quick fields that you can build into workflows. So you can build a capture profile to say, hey, whenever you receive a tax statement document that looks like this, extract these fields and then continue the process going. Whereas if you use quick fields in a self-hosted system, you can do something very similar, but if you don't have import agent, it's more clicks for your users. So you would use quick fields to scan in the documents and then store them to the repository. And then based on where they got stored in the repository, then maybe workflow would pick it up and continue on. But somebody has to initiate that. So we run a capture profile. We assign the field values, rename the entry, and then we just continue that multiple times. I don't know that this is necessarily a best practice for configuring a workflow to comb through a document that has multiples of the same type, but this is what I have for you. And so then it's going to go through, move pages, so whatever remaining pages, run the capture profile, do the things, run the capture profile, do the things, and then from there it will move the entry to its final location. So that's kind of how that works with import agent. Meeting minutes is very similar and resolutions. So based on the folder that I am monitoring, so whether I put it in clerk services or maybe our tax statement, again, based on whichever folder I plop my documents into, it's going to follow those set of rules for importing it into Laserfiche and moving on. So let's jump back to our PowerPoint. Whoa. Gotta. All right, so our final productivity saver is sending bulk emails. So this is something that has been more newly developed by our team based on a financial client wanting to send statements and compliance notifications out to certain clients that meet certain criteria that they manage within a database. So that database could be the CRM, it could be really any number of things, an Excel document, maybe a SQL table. You can have your database of information set up however you want. But in this scenario, we have a Laserfiche form that is going to be configured so that an end user can automatically prepare these emails for bulk sending. And then it's going to go through a task process. So once it's been approved, then it can bulk send to the entire database of people that meet the criteria. So this is just kind of one way to handle sending bulk emails out from Laserfiche. It just makes it a little bit more user-friendly for an inexperienced user. So for this scenario, we are using Laserfiche Workflow as well as Laserfiche Forms. But again, you could potentially use just Laserfiche Workflow if you are experienced at sending out your own or building your own workflow processes. So a couple of use cases again for this particular process would be sending out reminders for renewing business licenses. That's what we're going to take a look at. So we've got a database of people who have submitted business licenses through our Laserfiche forms process, and then that collects all of the businesses, their emails, their contact information, and then that's how we generate and get our database of clients that we need to send business license renewals out to. Or maybe policy changes. So this is potentially something for HR. You have I-9s that have to go out and get resubmitted every 4 years, something like that. Or maybe you have an addendum to a handbook based on the state that an employee is working in. And so you need to blast that out to all of the people who are based in Minnesota versus, all of the employees that you have elsewhere. Compliance notifications. Again, that kind of goes to back to the financial client who is looking for an easy process for bulk emailing. You're working with Schwab and you have new addendums that you have to send out or notifications based on funds, things like that. And so you can select your the list of clients that you need to email based on whatever criteria you need. Open enrollment notification. So really, this process is great for any time you might need to send out bulk communication to your standardized list of people. So let's take a look at it. So this is built in a self-hosted environment. So I'm gonna get logged in here to my demo environment. And so again, you can set this process up a number of different ways, but we have ours for this scenario in Laserfiche Forms. So send match communication. And if you're familiar with forms, you do have the ability to customize this however you want to your logos, your colors, your different communication types, tie it into your databases. So again, this is just kind of an example. So you can choose the date that you want to have the email go out. It can certainly be a future date, however you want to set that up. And then you can determine what type of communication you're going to send. Is it going to be a vendor insurance request? Is it going to be a business license? Parks and Rec reservation? So yeah, this is a really great example. Let's say you are receiving reservations for parks and recs for your parks through a Laserfiche form, which you could totally do. But a storm blew through and all the tables were broken. And so you actually need to notify anybody who had reserved that location that the venue is closed, until further notice. And so you can select this option to say venue's closed. And then as I made selections here, you could see that this body of the email section was dynamically changing based on the one I selected. So we also have it set up where you can send a test email first to make sure that it's formatted and it's looking exactly how you want it to before you send it out. So send a test email. Welcome to CDI City. We're excited to have your business. Please find an attached copy of your business license and let us know if you have questions. And so with this process, again, Laserfiche is going to do a lookup to our database and find everybody we have business licenses for, and then it's going to attach a copy of their most recent business license and email it out to our recipients. So we're going to start with a test. I'm going to say, I like your business. And then we'll submit it. And so that is going to send an email, a test email out. We got that notification down here. So JL Construction Test. So that's how we know it's a test. We're excited to have your business here. Here's a copy of your license. And then you can see here those edits that I made did show up in the email bulk. Additionally, if you wanted your process to go through approval, based on that test, and then once somebody else has a chance to review it, they can say that it's been approved, and then it will send off to the entirety of your list. So we can see here, created today at 1:31, we've got a task that was assigned out. So this goes to somebody for review saying, hey, take a look at this, make sure everything looks good. If it does, then you can go ahead and unselect test, click submit, and then go from there. It will blast out again to the entire list of users for those business licenses so that they can take action or get a notification as desired. And so here on this one, we can see we do have that email attachment, Lakeside Tire and Wheel. Again, it would go through our entire list of contacts and bulk email them with the contact information that we want. So let's take a look at that automation and how it is set up. So I'm going to go into our manage area in forms, and we're going to take a look at the automation that's set up. So as I mentioned earlier, this is a combination of Laserfiche forms. So that initial form is our starting event. And then once we hit submit, then it's going to run a communication workflow. So we'd have to go back into the workflow engine. It creates a task, and then it's going to run that same communication workflow and then save a copy of it once it's been completed to the folder within Laserfiche. So that saving to Laserfiche can be based on the business name, whatever criteria you want. We just have it going into a bulk folder, but you can set it up how you'd like. So that's that. If we take a look at the workflow engine, we can see here that we've got a pretty extensive workflow based on the type of submission that we are making. So whether it's a business license or vendor insurance, whether a location is closed for parks and recs. So we can see here, this is the configuration of the workflow. Right. So I'm going to minimize all of this, and we're going to pop back into a PowerPoint. And I want to finish up and just kind of put out some resources for you and then see, of course, if we have any questions. While I wait for some questions to trickle in, if any, we have the CDI resources that are available to you. So you can log into our client portal and get access to training documentation, open support tickets, things like that. Otherwise, feel free to reach out to our team with any needs that you might have. Definitely check out our YouTube library where you can see tons of helpful demo videos or training videos, how-to videos on how to do different things within Laserfiche. Additionally, Laserfiche Direct has some really great resources for you. They've got this solution exchange where you can go in and check out pre-configured processes that you can import into your system and just get ideas on what other organizations are doing within their Laserfiche system. Aspire and CPP training. So if you want to get certified on different modules of Laserfiche, like building your own workflows or building your own forms processes, definitely check out the Aspire training options. And then getting started guides. These are definitely my favorite and I think most useful resources for learning how to do anything in Laserfiche. It is a extensive PDF document that has embedded links and embedded videos for how to do certain actions within the repository. So I'll open it up to see if anybody has, again, any questions on import agent, snapshot, or that bulk email process. I haven't seen any questions come in yet. And so if you think of something after the fact, don't hesitate to reach out. My email here is on the screen. But otherwise, hopefully this gave you some ideas on different tools that are available to you in Laserfiche and how you could use them to enhance your productivity. Thanks everybody for joining me today.